Hello, so I am a qualified clinical hypnotherapist, and what I'm hoping to convince you of tonight is one, that I'm actually pretty good at it, and two, that there's no such thing as hypnosis. At least not in the stereotypical way that people think of, because they tend to think of the Svengali. We're talking about lack of control, lack of free will. It's something that's done to you. Can you make me stop smoking? Can you make me bark like a dog? And it doesn't really work like that. It's not like I can pull out a pocket watch and swing it in front of you and say, and have you fallen under my spell? You're feeling engaged and enthused. When I click my fingers, you'll give me your full and undivided attention. Because it doesn't really work like that. For me, hypnosis is more about how I adapt my communication style to the person I'm working with. It's about It's about being able to find the message that works best for you to be able to package and understand. And we don't have enough time for anyone to come up on stage, but I've got something that you can play with in the audience. And what I want you to do is just think of a time when you were younger, when you went on an adventure. And that might be trying to dig a hole to the other side of the world, or going up the big slide, or your first time on an aeroplane. And when you found something, a memory, just raise your hand so I can see that some of you have got that. Yeah, and if you look around, actually quite a few of you have your hands up. So did I cause that? Yes. Woo, hypnosis, yay. But did I make you do that? No, I didn't make you. I gave you a context and it was appropriate for you to follow along. So this is kind of what we're talking about. I've had that kind of experience where you're talking to someone and they just do not seem to get it. You're trying to explain yourself and they just do not get it. And in that kind of situation, whose responsibility is it to be understood? Is it their fault for not understanding? My view is no, that's my problem. If I'm failing to communicate, I need to adjust my communication style to them. I need to understand where they're coming from, and if it's not working, I need to change it. We're thinking about mental models. So if the mental model that I'm using is not resonating with them, I need to understand their mental model and either adapt myself to their model, give them a way to update their model so that they can understand where I'm coming from, or change the metaphor. And that reminds me of when I was driving with my friend, and they were having a real problem putting the handbrake down in the car, and we couldn't work out what it was. Was it because the handbrake had previously been put on too tightly? Was it because they were particularly weak? And when I noticed out of the corner of my eye, they were pushing down before they pressed the button. And if you understand how the mechanism works, you can understand that's actually binding the mechanism. They were making it more difficult for themselves. So once we'd worked that out and updated their model, they were able to take the handbrake off with no issues going forward. And that's what we're talking about. We're looking for ways to package information so that people can absorb and act upon the message that you're trying to send. Yeah. In the book Monsters and Magical Sticks, Stephen Haller talks about a situation that he had with his son. And he says, my son was having real difficulty sleeping. He imagined that the objects, the toys in his room were coming to life and trying to harm him. Now, I could have told him that there's no such thing as monsters, that it was in his imagination. But all that would have done would be to tell him that he couldn't come to me with his fears. And in the darkness and in the shadows, his fears would grow. So instead, I went to the garden centre and I picked up a cane and I brought it home and I said to him, this is a magical stick, and tonight we're going to go around and we'll touch all of the toys in your room and it will prevent them from coming to life. So he did that, and for the first time in weeks, he slept through the night. And so on the next night, we did the same thing, and the night after that. And on the third night, he said, Dad, you can take the stick and give it to another boy. I don't need it anymore. Yeah. And what Stephen had done there is he had met his son where he was. He didn't try to convince him that his model was wrong. He went to where he was and he gave him the tools to take himself out of it. And that's what we're trying to achieve. This is how it works for everything. This is true of clinical hypnosis, it's true of stage hypnosis, which you can come and ask me about later. It's about adapting ourselves, about adapting my communication so that you get the message that you need from me at the time. And there you have it. I've been Andy Palmer. You've been an amazing audience. This has been a really interesting talk. I am quite a good hypnotist. There is no such thing as hypnosis, and You're back in the room. Thank you.